Hi everyone, my name is Lindsey Marsh and I'm the owner and designer behind Sew to Grow Patterns. Today we are going to look at how to take a standard sewing pattern and fit it perfectly to your body. So a lot of us are a tic-tac-toe sizes and we take a standard pattern and we try to just make it in one size only to have the shoulders fall off or it's too tight through our hips. So I'm going to take you through step by step how to measure properly, how to pick your size, how to trace and grade between the different sizes, and then I'm going to show you how to actually make a mock-up and test that on your body. So we're going to learn so much today. We're actually going to be working with the Bondi top, and it's the perfect box top pattern, especially if you're a beginner, because you can make it into an easy shirt, or you can add sleeves to it, lengthen it to a dress, and then it's going to be perfect for any season. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by measuring, because this is the most important part of the whole thing. So I have my measuring tape here and I have my little lady, and what we're going to do is we are going to start measuring the upper bust. Now this part is one of the most important things because usually we pick our pattern based on our full bust measurement. And what happens is if patterns are designed for somebody who is a B or C cup, so if you fall outside that measurement, then sometimes you'll find that the shoulders fall off of you or the neck's way too gapy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our measuring tape and we're gonna go around the back, about where your scapulas are, so those little bones that stick out in the back. We're gonna come straight under the armpits, and we're gonna go just above the chest like this, okay? So I'm gonna turn her around slightly so you can see across the broad part of your back, under the armpits, and just over the top like that. So then you would record that measurement. Now our next measurement is gonna be around the fullest part of your bust. This is also known as the apex. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around about where your bra strap would be. And we're gonna come around and go around the side of the chest. And then we're gonna hold this right here in the front, all right? So you don't wanna pull it too tight, you don't wanna have it too loose. Also, making sure that you're wearing a properly fitting bra is extremely important. So if you plan to wear a bra that's pushed up to wear underneath a wedding dress, or if you're making something that's a little bit more active and you're gonna wear a sports bra, the bra that you choose to wear is what you need to be wearing when you're measuring yourself. Now, our next measurement is our waist. Now, this is your natural waist. Not where you think your waist is or where you want it to be. This is our natural waist. So to find your waist, I like to put my thumb up and stick it in the side and bend over like a little teapot like this. So it's at the end of your rib cages where you naturally bend. Also, you can find your waist from the back. So our spine naturally curves down to this innermost divot, and then it starts curving back out for your bum. So if you can't find your waist from the front or the side, you can always find it right here at the back. And then I like to put an L, and then I can find it from the side here. Here we already have a little bit of elastic around it. You could also do that, put an elastic around your waist. And remember, when you're doing this measurement, don't suck in, because you will not benefit from having a dress that's too tight. So we're just gonna measure that and then record that measurement. Now our last measurement is for our hips. Now this is the largest measurement of the lower half of your body. So some of us carry our weight to the front, some of us carry it to the back, and me personally, I carry my weight in my hips. So I like to take 3 measurements: high hip, middle hip, and low hip, so that I'm capturing if I have any tummy, any bum, and any part of my hip. So you take those 3 measurements and then write them down. So if you come over here, I have a little chart, and you'll be able to print this out yourself to have at home. And what I've done is, based on what I have over here on my measurement chart, I've just circled the sizes. So for my upper bust, I've circled my size in the bust area, and then I've also circled my full bust. And you'll see I fit in 2 different size categories. And then we have my waist, and then we also have the hips. So my largest hip measurement was my lower hip, and we're gonna go ahead and circle that. And you can see, look, tic-tac-toe, all different sizes. So now what we're going to do, now that we figured out what sizes we are in what areas, we are gonna move over here to our pattern. So what I have here is I have my pattern laid out, and then I have my non-fusible interfacing on top. So it's also called pattern ease or true grid. You just want something that drapes and acts a lot like fabric, because you can actually base on this and do mock-ups with it. So the first thing I'm going to start out by doing is I put a few flathead pins so that I can easily trace over my design. I've also come in here and I've already labeled everything, because it's really important to make sure that you have everything labeled. Now, the other reason I use this interfacing is because I never cut into my pattern. Once you use it, you lose it, and then you can never make that pattern again. So that's a really important thing to remember, is don't cut into your actual pattern and use some interfacing. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna use the lines of the pattern. Now, this pattern is multi-size, and most of the patterns that you buy come with all the sizes already in them. So what we can do is we can mark what size we are in each area, and then we can blend and grade them together. So I'm gonna mark here in my neck area, I'm gonna be a small, and then up here in the shoulder, I'm a small, okay? Then I come out in my bust area, and remember I wrote it here, I'm a medium. So here in this bust area, I'm gonna be a medium, right here, medium in my waist. So this is where your short and length line, that's where your waist is. And then I've come out here to my large in my hips. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to take a French curve. This is a fashion multi-tool, so it does lots of different things. And we're gonna use that to trace our lines. Now, your French curve, this is what designers use to trace patterns, to make patterns, to alter patterns. And what I like to do is I just like to line the curve up the best I can and trace that. So you have nice, smooth, even lines. Then we're gonna use this to trace any of the straight lines that we have. Okay, and then we're gonna come out here to the medium, and then we're gonna line up the curves the best we can and keep tracing. Now, the reason I use this is because it is gonna help me blend between different sizes, and you'll see that in just a second here. So I'm gonna just trace that, and I'm just using just a marking pen, but you can use any pen or pencil that you have to be able to trace out your design. All right, now I've used this because it's quite handy to be able to do my neck and my arms and things like that. And even if I wanted to bring up the neckline a little bit, I could even pivot that up and trace a higher neckline. So that's a really great tool to have. Now what we're going to do is right here in my waist, I'm a medium, and let's say I need to go out to a large or perhaps an extra large for my hips. So I'm gonna line this up, place it with my medium like this, and I'm gonna hold it right here at my waist, and I'm gonna pivot it out to the large. I could keep pivoting all the way out to whatever size I need. So I'm just gonna go here to the large, and then trace that line, okay? And then finish that up. And you just wanna make sure that this line evenly blends out to the large, and then you continue tracing the rest of the way around. So now what I've done is I've gone from small to medium out to large and used all the different sizes in the pattern to blend them together. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna cut that out quickly, so I would just give yourself about 1/2 inch around, and then come over here, and I'm using some muslin. Now, it doesn't have to be muslin fabric. You can use calico, any cheap, inexpensive. You could even use old sheets. The only thing I would suggest is make sure you have enough yardage. It's the same yardage as you'd use for your finished product. And also, if you're working on a knit project, you'd wanna use knit fabric. And if you're working on a woven project, you'd wanna use woven fabric. So here I have my design all pinned out, and then I'm just going to cut that out of my muslin. So I don't really bother with pressing it or getting too fancy, because this method, this is supposed to be quick. This is supposed to be easy and quick, just so we can test the fit. Now I am coming over here, and I am just gonna mark my pleats. So whenever you're sewing, you are going to follow the instructions of your pattern, and if there's any pleats or there's any darts or anything like that, you want to mark them onto your pattern. So I've already done that here for my back panel, and then I'm just going to match them together, and then like this, and then I'm gonna put a pin in that, okay? And then I'm gonna come over to my machine. I'm just gonna baste that into place. And I'm gonna use about a scant 1/4 inch, because when you baste this, when I actually sew it, I don't wanna see it. Take my pins out as I get to them. And then I'm gonna give that a nice cut. Okay. And then I'm gonna come back over to my pattern. Now this is a great tip that I like to show people. Whenever you're pinning something, some of us like to start from one side and go to the other. And what I like to do is start by pinning in the middle, pinning at the ends, okay? And then I would take those two, hold them, and then pin center, middle, 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 middle. And what that does is that eases it all the way across, because if I just pin from one side to another, it wouldn't make it. So then I would go ahead and sew that, and then I would put these right sides together and sew both of the side seams up. And then that's it, really quick. We're using a long stitch on our sewing machine, a basting stitch, so that if I need to unpick it or I need to change anything, then I can just clip it and rip it. So once you're all done with that, you are going to try it on. All right, so that would be all sewn, obviously. And then we can check it. We can see, are the shoulders lined up? Is the side lined up? Is it too tight across the bust? Do we need to go up a size? How's the neck? Do we need to change that? Is it gaping or anything like that? So once we decide any changes we need to make, we can actually mark on this and write down what we need to change. Then we come back to our traced interfacing and we make those changes directly on our traced pattern. So we're walking through tracing, picking a size, going through the different sizes, sewing up our mock-up, and then testing the fit, and then putting it back on here. Now you have a perfectly fitted pattern to yourself, and you can see I used a basic pattern, and there's gonna be 100 different ways I can make up this pattern, different fabrics, different lengths, add the sleeves. So now I'm gonna have a wardrobe staple that can last for seasons to come.